Om Yogis. Um, this video is going to be part of the series of behind the scenes. Today we have an interesting topic, but before we begin, let's start as usual. Let's do our 3 ohms. Let's breathe in. Let's put our hands together and observe a moment of silence and stillness. Very well. So today's topic is going to be, we can call it cultivating our garden. We can think of our lives as a garden, of our minds, of our hearts, of our relationships. So we can stick with that title, Cultivating Our Garden, from the standpoint of the yoga philosophy and mantra yoga meditation. And with a specific focus on the law of karma. So, in the previous video, we talked a little bit about the law of karma. This video was, if I remember correctly, also part of the behind the scenes, and I believe it was on memory and karma. And in that video, the example that we gave was oversimplified example. Person A, person B. Action. And again, because we're oversimplifying, let's say person A hits person B, right? Reaction. Now they get hit back. They initiated the attack, now retaliation comes, right? So that's a simple example. And then we went a little further where we're talking about karma, and the law of karma and reincarnation are very well linked. Maybe we can make another video on reincarnation and all that. But action happens, could be a word, could be a thought, could be a lack of action, could be a physical action. Now that action has happened, now a reaction must come back. That is like the seed. The seed has been planted in that garden of our lives, of our relationships, of our hearts, of minds. That word, that action, that deed, that neglect and lack of action, the seed is planted. The action has happened. Now a reaction will come back. But because it's a seed, and let's use the same oversimplified example, two kids in kindergarten, right? Let's say kid hits, other kid hits. Or high schoolers, even rougher, even harder, right? Hit. But let's say action, right? You hit, now you run, right? Because you don't want to get hit back. Now, the environment, the circumstances are not allowing or not appropriate for the reaction to come back. You're not even there. You hit and you ran. So the reaction, the retaliation cannot happen yet, but the seed is planted. And at the right time, on the right circumstances, the reaction will come back. Now, if this friend that you attack, that you hit, this high school friend or whatever, right? Again, oversimplifying it. Now you are in your neighborhood, you're in your hood, right? In your turf. And now this friend comes, remember you hit him. Still, the circumstances are not conducive for the retaliation to come back, because now you are surrounded by your crew. Being in New York and in the Bronx, this is the perfect analogy. You are with your crew, we are with the squad. They're not gonna retaliate there because they know they're not on their turf, they're on your turf. and so you may not get the reaction, the retaliation yet. Or if you're in a public place, maybe there are officers of the law there, or teachers, and they don't want to get in trouble. The circumstances are not allowing for this person to retaliate yet. But what happens when now you are walking either on neutral territory, or now you happen to be on this person's turf, and now they are with their crew and their fam and their squad, right? Now you're in trouble because you planted the seed. Now you're walking down a lonely alley, dark at night, on your own. And it just so happened that this person is walking by and sees you. Now the place, the time, the circumstances, no agents of the law around, no witnesses, or if there are witnesses, is people, friendly to him or her. Now the retaliation will come. Because the surroundings, the area, everything is conducive for this to happen. But remember, you planted the seed. So, the whole system of yoga, mantra yoga, meditation, and the various systems of yoga, the masters, the gurus, the acharyas, the guides, they are taking care. The whole instructions, all of the instructions for these things are leading you into avoiding certain conditions, avoiding certain type of environments, and not just environments outside, but also environments inside. So, your mental environment should be in a certain way, your emotional environment should be in a certain way, your energy, your health, the people you surround with, the way that your prana is working, it The masters, this is what they're doing. Everything is to help prepare the soil so that only certain kind of seeds can sprout, can germinate, so that you have a beautiful garden. Sit 30 minutes in the morning, do your meditation. 30 minutes in the afternoon, do your meditation. Make sure that you take a shower before you do this. Make sure that you're well rested. Make sure that you haven't eaten. You should be on an empty stomach. Hopefully you are wearing white clothes. Maybe you also have an altar, incense, a candle. The images there on the altar are all conducive, so that when you sit, there's flowers, there's fruits, beautiful smells, you are clean, your clothes are white and clean, you are ready, you sit. Now, only certain kind of seeds are conducive in that environment for them to sprout, to germinate, to flower. And if we do this 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the afternoon, throughout our lives, we will see naturally our lives will be totally different. Same thing with the retreats. People that go to retreats on a regular basis, they are setting themselves up, setting up the right environment, purifying, fasting, meditation, lectures, surrounded by people also trying to improve themselves. This is the kind of environment where only certain kind of seeds can sprout. Only certain kind of reactions can return. Because remember, we're talking about karma and reincarnation, and so many actions mentally, so many actions verbally, so many actions physically, so many lack of actions or neglects, that words that should have been said, actions that should have been taken and were not. These things also bring a reaction. So the example with these things, because sometimes people ask me, because karma means action, right? But its lack of action can also generate reactions, neglect. So rent is coming, rent is due. I'm not doing any physical action, but if you don't send it, if you do not do that physical action, you best believe there's going to be a consequence, right? Credit card bill comes, there's no action, I'm not acting, I'm a yogi. If you do not act, then for sure there will be consequences. Your credit score will show, and it will stop you from doing different things that you want to do, if you want to do things in that field. Like this is the way the lack of action can sometimes affect us. So it's not just I do an action and then I get a reaction. Sometimes it's I do not do an action and that affects. So another example, more closer to now spirituality. I do not do hatha yoga. I do not exercise. I am not doing an action. I am being neglectful. I am not disciplined. I am not making a conscious effort to push myself a little bit, to do the hatha yoga practice, to practice my pranayama. So maybe you won't see it right away, but if this neglect continues, this lack of action continues, you will see for sure an effect. If you don't brush your teeth in the morning, for sure you will see the effect. You don't wash your clothes. You don't do your meditation regularly. You do not make a conscious effort to work in the center to assist to the regular meditations. Again, these are not things that you're going to see right away. But if the neglect continues, whatever, well, I'm doing my best, right? Continues, or I'm too busy right now, continues, then over time, you will see. Or it could also be that you will not see. Because when we make a conscious effort, and you see the people that are making a conscious effort to do their hatha yoga, to do their meditation, to push themselves to assist to retreats, to participate in the yoga center, do their karma yoga, to serve the center, the guru, the instructors in any way they can. Over time, because they're setting up the right environment, only certain kind of seeds are going to blossom in them, flowering in them, and it's such a beautiful thing. And then you're thinking, okay, we both got initiated around the same time, or we're both around the same age, and we're both going to the center because as far as people can see, most people, they're like, oh, they're more or less the same. But one is making more of a conscious effort. The other one skips a meditation here or there, doesn't really do their hatha yoga, doesn't really take care of their diet so much, these kind of things. Over time, the one that is making that conscious effort and really tending to their garden, they will flower, they will see these things, these qualities. And then this person is not going to see. And many times, unfortunately, a little jealousy or envy comes. Oh, but how come he or she can and I cannot? Or how come people, love or whatever, him or her, and me, they have me a little bit like to the side? Or how come, the guru, whatever with this person, or how come this person has this quality, these kind of things. This is why, because they are tending to their garden, they are making that effort to purify their system, doing hatha yoga consistently, taking care of their diet, doing their meditation regularly and punctually, doing their karma yoga, assisting to retreats, being of service in the center, helping people around. This is the environment that they're setting up. And naturally, only certain kinds of seeds can sprout in that environment. A lot of the instructions from the instructors, from the acharyas, from the gurus, from the masters, is to help us avoid certain kinds of circumstances. So the guru will say something like, you may be at a crossroads where you don't know which kind of job to take. Should I go on this kind of job, that kind of job? And you come to the guru because he can see a little more, or someone that you trust that you feel can see a little more. And then they will say, oh, this kind of, go in this direction. Because in this direction, this kind of job, that kind of profession, the environment of what's going on, 9 out of 10, will be conducive for certain kinds of karma, certain kinds of reactions to sprout that may not necessarily help you in your spiritual growth. And the masters, all they care is about the spiritual growth. You may make more money that way, maybe you may be more famous that way, maybe whatever. This doesn't matter to them. So they will say, no, this way, in this kind of environment, you won't have to lie as much. The people in this kind of environment have a more professional kind of dealings, less likely to be in environments where certain kinds of seeds may sprout. Certain kinds of reactions are less likely to come to give its fruits in this type of environment. And certain kinds are more likely to give fruits in that kind of environment. That will help you in your growth. So when we see, for example, yogis like Maharishi Patanjali, right? And they start with yama and niyama, right? The steps: don't lie, ahimsa, no violence, no stealing, right? These are the kind of activities or restraints. Do not accept gifts from others. Do not brahmacharya, right? Control of the senses, celibacy, or control in different. We can maybe do a whole thing on that. But all of these things, all of these restraints, studying regularly the scriptures, being in the presence of of yogis and people that are on the path, or wise men. They are leading you into creating an environment within that where wisdom, where the flower of wisdom can blossom. Because if you're not telling lies, your mind is more at peace. You can save so much energy, because every lie I say, now I gotta remember it. Now I gotta make sure that I told him or her that I was here, but really I was somewhere else. Next time I see him or her, I have to remember that I said that on that day I was there, but really I was there. And not only when I see him or her, but anyone that him or her may talk to, right? I need to make sure that I am consistent with it, so that I say that I was there when I was really here. Because if they talk to them, then they're gonna find out you are complicating yourself in such a way with each lie that it is almost impossible for you to have any inner peace, any stability. Same thing with stealing. Same thing with violence. So, Patanjali is giving all the steps, right? He starts with those basic restraints. Purity also. Because one of the obstacles is sickness and health. It's very hard to meditate, to do your yoga, to do karma yoga, to assist to retreats if your health is. And look what happened now with this pandemic. We got to be more careful washing our hands, maintaining a certain sense of purity. Because if not, the environment is set for all of these type of pandemic and diseases to flower and to thrive, and that brings sickness, disease. And now your focus can no longer be on spirituality, because it's life or death. Spirituality can only happen when there is stability, The health is strong, the mind is at peace, you are more or less in harmony with others around you. Again, so let's say you have a hard time with harmony in those around you. Many yogis, to avoid even dealing with this kind of thing, let me just go to some cave, one less thing to worry about. But for those of us in society, one thing, and that's also mentioned within some yogi scriptures, it is best to limit the number of friends. There's a song that says, more money, more problems, more friends, more problems, right? So the yogi usually is very selective. Only certain kind of people, and the less is more. Because you're super popular, right? Many friends, you're always hanging out here, there, everybody loves you, you love everybody. Maybe your relationship may even be harmonious to a certain degree. But now you're being pulled in so many directions. It's unlikely that you're going to be harmonious with so many people. It can happen. But now if your friend has an issue, has a problem, what kind of friend are you if you don't help? What kind of friend are you if you don't, lend a listening ear or a shoulder to cry on with your so many people that are your quote-unquote friends or close friends? Now again, you're distracted. Time that could be going to some other more productive activity within spirituality, now you have to deal with issues of friends. Because now, if you are a friend, your issue is not just your issue. If I am your friend, your issue is also my issue. Your problem is also my problem. Your joy is also my joy. And if you are worried about something and I'm your friend, now I'm also a little bit worried because I don't want bad things to happen to my friend. So you see how too many friends can be a problem and a distraction. So the yogis retreat, limit their friends, limit their circumstances, so that they can focus on what matters. Coming back to the garden. So certain kind of actions, certain kinds of seeds will sprout under certain circumstances. If you're lying, if you're doing things, gossiping around, if you're pretending something that you're not, the master cannot see me, they cannot see whatever, I can, do these things here, do these things there. That is setting up an environment within you, and sometimes even without, that is going to be conducive for certain kinds of seeds to sprout, that when the fruit comes, when the flower comes of those seeds, of those karmic seeds, is a bitter fruit to eat. And you will have to eat it because you planted it. And sometimes the guru in his compassion, he's just saying, just be honest. Just do things right, just be straight, direct. Just stop the gossip. But sometimes we do not listen, right? So I think this is going to be my message of today. Remember that the instructions of the gurus, of the instructors, of the masters, of the acharyas, of our spiritual guides, this is the direction. They're making sure that the environment in our garden, in the garden of our minds, of our hearts, of our relationship with others, of our intellect, of our ego, is set and proper for only certain kinds of reactions to come back, only certain kinds of reactions to give fruits. Oh, but what about all those other seeds? Let's call it of negative karma that are still there. Maybe we can make another video on that. But for today, let's remember to tend to our garden, set ourselves up for good things to happen, set ourselves up for success in our words, in our thoughts, in our actions. And let's not forget, those lack of actions also bring their fruits. All right, let's finish with 3 ohms. Breathe in.